I'm Tom Garrett. My family has farmed the same land in Virginia's Shenandoah Valley for 4 generations. My great-grandfather broke that ground in 1861. My grandmother walked every row of it before she started school. My father never bought a vegetable in his life, not out of principle. It just didn't occur to him. What I know, I learned from them. What they knew, they learned from the ground. I'm not an expert. I don't have a certification or a course to sell you. What I have is 4 generations of working knowledge that never made it into any book because nobody thought it was worth writing down. That's what this channel is. Every week, one thing my family figured out. Today, 20 plants my grandmother grew for income. The ones that sell for $40 to $80 a pound. The ones your grocery store decided weren't worth carrying. She called them her quiet crops. The ones that did the work while nobody was watching. Let's go through all 20. Your grocery store carries about 200 plant varieties. There are over 20,000. Most of the ones they left out sell for $40 a pound. Some go for $80, a few tip past $600. They didn't disappear because they were inferior. They disappeared because they were impossible to ship, impossible to mass produce, and impossible to control. Which means the market for them is still wide open. Before we go through the list, let me put the numbers on the table. Saffron. $10 to $20 per gram. That's over $5,000 a pound. 1 ounce from a 10 by 10 garden patch sells for more than $300. Wasabi, $80 per pound wholesale. Almost nobody in North America is growing it commercially. American ginseng, $300 to $600 per dried pound. Legal to grow in 19 states. Takes 5 years to mature, which is exactly why the market has stayed open for 200 years. My grandmother understood something most people still don't. The harder a crop is to standardize, the more a patient grower can charge for it. Wealth on a farm doesn't come from volume. It comes from growing what nobody else will bother with. She used to say, anyone can grow corn. The question is what you grow when corn prices drop. The Garrett farm has kept the same answer for 4 generations. Specialty crops. High-value plants that require patience, attention, and skill. Exactly the things industrial agriculture can't afford. The Romans traded saffron as currency, it worth more than gold, by weight in 1st century trade routes. Wasabi has been cultivated in Japan for over 400 years by small family farms. Only 5% of the wasabi served in restaurants globally is the actual plant. The real thing is so difficult to source that chefs pay whatever growers ask. Ginseng was the first American export crop to China, before cotton, before tobacco. In 1784, the ship Empress of China carried American ginseng to Canton, and the profit from that single voyage financed much of early American trade. These plants built quiet fortunes. Then industrial agriculture decided they were too difficult to standardize, and walked away. That decision left a gap that has never closed. Here's what my grandmother understood that most people overlook. These crops aren't expensive because they're rare. They're expensive because they're inconvenient for everyone except a small grower with time and attention. Saffron must be hand-harvested. Each flower produces 3 threads. No machine can do it. That labor cost is what keeps the price high, and it's precisely what gives a backyard grower an advantage a corporation never will have. Real wasabi won't survive refrigerated shipping. It loses flavor within 24 hours of harvest. That's a distribution nightmare for a grocery chain. For a grower selling direct to restaurants within 50 miles, it's a permanent competitive moat. Ginseng takes 5 years. No quarterly earnings report survives a 5-year crop cycle. So institutions walk away, and individual growers who can wait inherit the entire market. The Garrett farm didn't build wealth from scale. It built wealth from patience and specificity. That's the whole model. My grandmother kept these in what she called her income garden, separate from the kitchen garden, separate from the field crops. These were tended more carefully, and because they were treated as a business, not a vegetable patch. Here's how I'd organize them for someone starting today. The first group you can start this season, number 1, gourmet garlic, $15 to $30 per pound. Not the white papery kind at the grocery store, hardneck varieties, rocambole, purple stripe, porcelain, and with flavor profiles that restaurants and serious cooks actively seek and can't reliably find. A single 4x8 raised bed planted in fall produces 30 to 40 heads by July. At $15 per head for premium varieties, that's $450 to $600 from one bed. Plant in fall, harvest in summer. It's the closest thing to a guaranteed return on this list. I'll link the seed stock worth planting in the description. True Leaf Market carries the hardneck varieties that actually produce. Number 2, specialty lettuce and microgreens, $8 to $14 per pound. A 4x4 tray of microgreens produces a harvestable cut in 10 days. A 10 tray setup, smaller than a kitchen table, produces 5 to 8 pounds per week. At $10 per pound, that's $50 to $80 per week, year-round, indoors. My grandmother would have called this a ridiculous amount of money for something that grows itself in a fortnight. She would have been right. Number 3. Edible flowers at $20 to $35 per pound. Nasturtiums, calendula, barge, violets. Restaurants pay a consistent premium because fresh edible flowers cannot be shipped without wilting. Find 2 or 3 restaurant accounts within driving distance and the sales are as steady as a paycheck. Number 4. Specialty culinary herbs, $12 to $40 per pound. Lemon verbena, Vietnamese coriander, shiso, Thai basil. Herbs that grocery stores carry inconsistently, if at all. Once a chef finds a reliable local source, they stay. Recurring weekly orders are the norm, not the exception. Number 5. Elderberry, $12 to $18 per pound fresh, 40 or more dried. Demand has tripled since 2018, driven by the supplement market. Most commercial supply comes from Eastern Europe. A single established bush produces 12 to 15 pounds per season. Sell fresh to local health food stores or dry, and sell at 3 times the price from the same harvest. If you're finding this useful, hit subscribe. Every week on this channel, we cover one more thing the Garrett farm figured out: what to grow, what it's worth, and the knowledge that's been sitting quietly in the ground all along. There's more coming. Now, back to the list. The second group takes a season or more, but the returns are considerably higher. Number 6, wasabi, $70 to $80 per pound. Requires shade, consistent moisture, and cool temperatures. Takes 18 months to first harvest, then the plant regrows from the same root. Before you plant a single rhizome, contact local Japanese restaurants directly. In most American cities, there is no local wasabi supplier. You will have the market to yourself. Number 7, moringa, $20 to $40 per pound for leaves, 50 or more as powder. Grows in zones 9 through 11 or in containers overwintered indoors. The leaves are among the most nutritionally dense of any plant on earth. The supplement industry has noticed. Most local health food stores are still waiting for a grower to call. Number 8, turmeric, $8 to $15 per pound fresh, 30 or more dried and ground. Grocery store turmeric is typically 2 to 3 years old before it reaches you. Fresh turmeric sells for 3 times the dried price at farmers markets. 1 pound of seed rhizomes produces 8 to 10 pounds at harvest. I'll link the rhizomes we're starting with in the description. Seeds Now carries the varieties that actually produce well, which matters more than most people realize when they're beginning. Number 9, lemon balm, $12 to $20 per pound. Sells to herbalists, tea blenders, and health food stores. Grows prolifically once established, perennial. Harvest 3 times per season. Number 10, lovage, $15 to $25 per pound. Used in European cooking for centuries. Tastes like celery but with complexity. Almost completely unavailable commercially in the United States. Plant once, harvest for years. Chefs who discover it become loyal buyers because they have no alternative. Now the long game. This is where my grandmother's thinking was different from most people's. She didn't plant for the season, she planted for the farm. She used to say the best time to plant ginseng was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Number 11, American ginseng, $300 to $600 per dried pound. Legal to grow in 19 states with a permit. Takes 5 to 7 years to mature. The waiting period is the entire barrier to entry, which is why this market has stayed consistently high for 200 years. Plant under deciduous trees in partial shade. Begin now. Harvest in a different season of your life. That's not a metaphor. It's the business model. Number 12, saffron, $2,000 to $5,000 per pound. Each crocus bulb produces 1 flower. Each flower produces 3 threads. A gram requires roughly 150 flowers. That sounds like a lot until you realize 500 bulbs fit in a 10 by 10 patch and produce 3 to 4 grams per season. At $15 per gram retail, that's $45 to $60 from a bed smaller than a parking space. Plant bulbs in fall. Harvest in October when the purple flowers open. The window is 2 to 3 weeks. Threads must be handpicked at dawn before the flowers open fully. My grandmother did this every October for 40 years. She never once mentioned it was difficult. Number 13, truffles, $300 to $800 per pound for black, $1,500 or more for white. Truffle inoculated oak or hazel trees take 5 to 10 years to produce. Once they do, a single mature tree produces 1 to 3 pounds per season, and the trees live for decades. My grandfather planted things he knew he'd never harvest himself. He considered that normal. Number 14, vanilla, $50 to $200 per pound. Requires a greenhouse in most climates. The vanilla orchid must be hand-pollinated. A single plant produces 50 to 100 cured beans per year. Sells to bakers, specialty retailers, and restaurants who want something real. The last group, steady, reliable, and almost nobody's growing them. Number 15, ashwagandha, $15 to $30 per pound. Adaptogen demand has tripled in 5 years. Drought tolerant once established. Supplement companies buy in bulk. Almost no domestic small farm production to compete with. Number 16, elderflower, $20 to $40 per pound. Harvested before the berries from the same elderberry plant. Sold to brewers, cordial makers, and high-end restaurants. 2 revenue streams from one plant in one season. Number 17, stinging nettle, $10 to $20 per pound. One of the most nutritious plants in the northern hemisphere. Chefs use it as a spring green. Herbalists buy it dried. Most gardeners spend time pulling it out. Consider what that says. Number 18, calendula, $15 to $25 per pound dried. Skincare industry demand is consistent and growing. A continuous bloomer. The more you harvest, the more it produces. One of the highest yield plants for time invested on this entire list. Number 19, specialty mushrooms, $12 to $40 per pound. Lion's mane, oyster, shiitake grown on inoculated logs or straw. Restaurants pay a meaningful premium for locally grown, same-day harvested mushrooms. Logs produce for 3 to 5 years. I'll link the kits I'd actually start with in the description. Number 20, black cumin, $15 to $30 per pound. Used in Middle Eastern and South Asian cooking and increasingly in the natural health market. Almost no domestic production. Grows easily as an annual in most American climates. The seed heads dry on the plant. Harvest is simple. My grandmother grew this in the 1970s when nobody around her knew what it was. She sold it by mail order to specialty grocers in New York City. She always knew her market before she planted a seed. That's not luck, that's the model. My grandmother didn't grow all 20. Nobody should start with all 20. She grew 4 or 5. Consistently, well, for decades. She knew her buyers, she knew her soil, she knew which crops were worth her time. Here's the sequence that makes sense for someone starting today. Start with gourmet garlic or specialty lettuce. Both produce within a year. Both have an existing buyer's market at every farmer's market in the country. Both give you the experience of selling, which is the part most people skip, before you commit to a 5-year ginseng bed. While that first crop grows, plant elderberry, 2 or 3 bushes. In 2 years they produce. That's your compounding layer. If your climate allows, add turmeric rhizomes in spring. Fast return, high market value, easy to process, and sell dried. Then find 2 or 3 restaurants within driving distance. Introduce yourself as a small specialty grower. Ask what they can't reliably source. The answer to that question will tell you exactly what to plant next. The crops that sell for $80 a pound aren't selling there because they're rare. They're selling there because not enough people decided to grow them. The Garrett farm figured that out a long time ago. It's not complicated, it's just patient. If this changed how you think about what a backyard, or a patio, or a windowsill and can actually produce, subscribe. Every week we cover one more piece of what the Garrett farm figured out over 4 generations. Next week, the rain catch system my grandmother built for $15 that supplied 6 months of water, completely off-grid. I'll see you there. Everything on this list that you can start growing this season, seeds, rhizomes, starter plants, is linked in the description below. Seeds Now has the best selection for specialty herbs and the harder to find varieties. True Leaf Market carries the heirloom garlic seed stock worth planting. I only link things I'd actually use. Happy growing.